What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host, as always. My name is Jimmy. And as we start off every show, that's with gratitude. I want to say thank you to everybody that supports anything we got going on. Specific shout out to all the students at By the Hood University, as well as all the kids in the By the Hood summer camp, our ownership camp, which has been amazing thus far. The feedback from the parents. I just want to say, listen, I appreciate you guys for all the amazing feedback. And, you guys sending me pictures of your kids, like looking up stocks and learning how to save. So it's just amazing to see. Just want to say thank you to all you guys. We start all of our shows off with gratitude. My brother Corey isn't here today. It's the wife's birthday, but happy birthday to Mrs. Camp. But with that being said, we still have to do our job, which is highlighting brothers and sisters who do amazing work in the community, are building amazing businesses, and just doing everything from a positive standpoint. And I have one of my Lancer sisters on with me. I have Shayna Harvey here. Shayna, who is a certified financial planner, by the way, and as she told me, the owner of her firm. I asked about her firm. She says, "Oh, I own it." Like, I want to make sure I'm clear in how you told me. Oh no, I own it. So, Shayna, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, listen, that was amazing. I love the way you said that, right? And listen,
it felt good to say it, though. It actually really did. I was like, wait, I don't have to check with anybody but me. But
that's right. It's pride. It's pride and ownership. So listen, it's funny, right? A lot of people that come through our show are fellow Lancers because we're out here changing the world. But tell us about your background from being a baby. What part of the city were you born, raised in? Tell us about yourself.
Cool. I will. Yes, I got started here on this earth in Germantown, East Germantown to be specific. Somerville. Okay. Shout out to everybody at 21st Nedro.
Nice.
That's where I grew up. That's where I was raised. And my parents they still live in Mount Airy. They moved when I was in college. So I still also have stomping grounds in Mount Airy. That's where my grandparents stay. So I made sure to cover both ends of uptown in that sense.
Nice.
Born and raised in Philly, went to the greatest high school in the world. So
this is true.
Central High School, I'm the 255th graduating class. Then went to Temple University, studied communications, actually. I wanted to make commercials. And funny story, the reason I did that was because I saw the movie Boomerang when I was a kid. And I wanted to do what Eddie Murphy did.
Got you.
So I was like,
you are not the first person to say that, by the way. You're not the first person to say that. But that shows you how important like movies and culture are to what it is we do. Like a lot of us, I went to a HBCU because of a different world, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we get influenced by culture.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this question though, right? So you wanted to major in communications, you talked about Boomerang, you ended up in financial services. What kind of lessons or what were you taught as a kid? Like were your parents in the financial services? Like were they, just
not
oblivious to it? Okay, so
so now if you ask them, they will probably say I've been a financial planner since I was a kid. I just didn't know what it was. But I knew that I wanted stuff and we didn't have any money. And so I was on a mission to try to figure out how we can get some money. So since I think I had my first business when I was maybe 10.
Okay.
And I had, you remember the Highlights magazines?
Yes, I do.
So on the back of the Highlights magazine, there was just a bunch of pictures of like toys and prizes. And so if you call the number on the toys and prizes, it was the number to this like stationary sales organization.
Okay.
And it's probably illegal now, but they got kids to sell their products in exchange for these toys and prizes.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Or you got to keep $1 per item that you sold. So I called the number. My parents let me call the number. They send you a catalog and then give you instructions on how to sell this stationery. It was like gift wrap, all kinds of stuff. So at like 10 years old, I was like, okay, well, I got to go build this business because I'm trying to get this scooter and you got to sell 50 items to get a scooter. So I wanted a scooter. So yeah, I went door to door in my neighborhood and I had a customer base. I sold them stationery. I sold them gift wrap. But then when it came time to, choose the prize, then I thought about it. I was like, $1 per item sounds better. So I'm going to take that instead. So you got to keep $1 per item. And I had repeat customers. So I would just go back they used to send a book quarterly. So every quarter I would go back and go to my customers, see what they wanted this season. And that was my first business.
Nice.
And so that kind of got me started.
That's got to be illegal now. That's got to be illegal now.
It's got to be.
It's got to be, right?
It's got to be illegal.
Let's talk about
labor laws, at least.
Absolutely.
A violation of.
Let's talk about that transition, though, right? So your communications major. When did the switch happen, and how did the switch happen for you to get into your current field?
Yeah. So the switch happened really my senior year of college. So I was about to graduate, and I remember the day I decided that I had to run my own business. It was like maybe, fall semester, senior year. I had this advertising class, and the professor was teaching everybody how to negotiate salary.
Okay.
And something just didn't sit right with something he said. He said, never ask for more than $1 than what you think you're worth, because then you won't get the job. And I was like, what? Never ask for more than $1 than what I'm worth. I was like, I don't like that at all. Like, I want to work and get what I work for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I wanted. I was like, sounds like I got to open my own business, but I didn't know in what.
Okay.
And so my first idea was actually to start a food truck. I wanted to have, because it was always a problem. I stopped eating beef, and it was always problems to find like turkey products. So it was going to be an all turkey truck called Where's the Beef? That was my first idea.
Hey, I still like that right now. I'm sorry.
Right. It was a good idea. Didn't execute on it, but if you remember it was the art show that used to go to the Lear Center. What was it called? October Gallery.
Yeah.
So October Gallery had American Express Financial Advisors had a booth there. And I went by the booth because I just started learning about investing at the time. And my sorority, shout out to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. My sorority was putting on a program to teach college students how to invest. And I was the economic development program chair on campus. So I had to find a speaker, and I was having the hardest time finding anybody to come and speak to our group. So I decided I was going to do it. And so my uncle,
so I can't find anybody, so just let me do it. Like,
yeah, that's kind of how it happened. So my uncle had just gotten a job at Prudential and had to get the Series 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I got his Series 6 book, and I started studying that book and just highlighting and trying to come up with like a program to teach college kids, because I still had feelers out there, and I'm still, actively trying to seek somebody. And American Express was on my list of like try to find an advisor. But in 2000, when this was happening, there weren't a lot of Black advisors that I had access to.
Yeah.
And so it was just hard to find them. I was writing letters to United Bank. I was emailing. I went physically down there several times. It just was hard to find anybody to come. And so I was like, we're just going to have to do this ourselves. And so I started studying. Fortunately, we got somebody, the Kappas actually hooked us up with somebody to come. One of their frat brothers worked at Morgan Stanley at the time. And so he ended up coming, which is good, because I have no idea what I would have taught them at that time. It would have been a mess, a hot mess. But that just lit a fire under me about investing. And I was like, I really want to know this. So while I'm at the Leah Core Center, American Express had their booth, and I check off the box that they had on this comment card at the end. It said, are you interested in financial opportunities? And I was like, or a career opportunities. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So maybe. I checked it off, got a call. First, I turned them down because I was like, who's gonna give me their money? I'm 20 years old. I'm clueless when it comes to finances. I'm a communications major. Who in their right mind is giving me their money?
Mm-hmm.
The guy was like, no, we train you. It's going to be fine. I was like, fine. I need to practice anyway. So I literally went into the interview, practiced for practice. So I was like super relaxed. I didn't really care if I got the job, and they were like, you're perfect. This is great. So I ended up accepting the job. Figured I'd do it for a year just to help my friends and family. Since nobody taught us how to invest, I just wanted to do that for like a year and then figure out what else I wanted to do. 21 years later, I'm running my own firm. So I guess it worked out.
That's amazing. So when did you actually fall in love with it? Was it the studying of it, or once you started, you realized like, hey, I can do this. I'm pretty good at this and I actually like it?
I got excited about it first in the interview, actually.
Okay.
When they described what financial planning was, because my whole vision of it was like Wall Street stockbroker.
Yes.
And I didn't know anything else. So,
all right, let's slow down right there. So explain to our audience like what it actually means to be a financial planner then, right? So what is it that made you excited about financial planning? What does it mean? Because most people think of stocks, but actually a financial planner, what is that?
So they really said that your job as a financial planner is to sit down with your clients and create strategy and a plan for them to execute so that they can get to their goals more effectively. And so you work with them over a long period of time, typically to invest, to save, to get the right insurances, to save money in taxes, to manage their cash flow. So you really are like the CFO of this family, right? In a lot of ways. And I was like, well, I love relationship building. I love helping people one-on-one. I'm good, or at least fairly decent at sales and like it. I think I can do this. And then, the first couple of times where you actually change somebody's financial trajectory, I just got addicted. I was like, yeah, I have to do this. Like everybody needs this. I got to do it. I got to figure out how to do it better and help as many people as I can.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's how it happened.
That's dope. So tell me about so you worked at American Express. Isn't that where didn't Ish work there too for a minute?
Yeah, we actually started together.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We started a month apart. So actually, when I interviewed, since we both went to Temple.
Yeah.
I remember the day we were both on campus, and I ran into her on campus, and she was like, "What you doing after graduation?" I was like, "I just interviewed at this place. I'm probably gonna take the job. It's American Express." She was like, "Oh, they still hiring?" I'm like, "Yeah, give them a call." So both of us ended up starting there together and working together.
Dope. Oh, that's amazing. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. I didn't even realize that. So tell me about this though. Tell me about this journey of working there, and how did you end up at your own firm?
So I was there for 7 years, and I was a franchise owner at one point. I was a manager, advisor, coach. So I stayed there for 7 years in like multiple capacities, and I actually left after 7 years and went to more of a corporate firm, TIAA Cref, and worked in their wealth management group. And I started working with like high net worth people, and realized that that's not my passion. Like I like rich people, but I didn't get into this to help only rich people. And so after 3 years, I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like they wouldn't even if you didn't have like, $1 million, $500,000 or more, they wouldn't even talk to you. And I remember having to get permission to work with somebody from my church, and she had like $350 saved. And I was like, and she was like, I got $350,000. I really need somebody I can trust. I know you work there, can you help me? And I went to my boss and I was like, hey, this woman from my church, she's got $350, so she's under the threshold. Can I work with her? And I had to go through hoops just to like work with somebody that I wanted to help. And I was like, man, this is really taking away from my passion.
Yeah.
For helping my community in particular. Like I learned a lot, which I'm super grateful for. I learned a ton, and it made me not be intimidated by wealthy people.
I like that.
That was that was important because from, a poor kid growing up, somebody sits in front of you with $1 million or a couple $1 million. You're like, man, how can I help them? Like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
I used to get really intimidated by that. But that took that away because all of my clients were millionaires at that point.
Yeah.
So when that's your norm, it wasn't intimidating anymore because I knew the value I could provide even to somebody at that level of wealth. So I stopped being intimidated then. So it was helpful there. So 3 years there, then I left and I actually went back to grad school full time.
Okay.
Because I also have a master's in divinity and economic development.
Okay.
So typically I focus in like the faith and finance space.
Okay.
And so I went back to grad school full time and then worked part time as an advisor for a small firm from one of the advisors who used to work at American Express. He left, started his own firm, and I went to work with him part time. He set me up with an office and things like that. 5 years later, that's when I started this firm. So I've been running my own shop now for 6 years.
Nice. That's an amazing journey right there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But it also explains like, how everything is part of your story. Even that step that you ended up realizing it's not your passion, that still helped you to get to where you are today.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't regret that at all. It was really, it was just really important for me to take that kind of intimidation out of the equation and know that I have value because, I can add value to anybody.
I heard that. I like that. I can add value to anybody. Well, listen, let me ask you this question. That's one hurdle. What would you say is the biggest hurdle in your career from starting where you started? You said, your words, I was, coming from, poor little girl, but now, you're working with $1 million clients and helping your community. What was the biggest hurdle?
The biggest hurdle, I think it was just me, my own insecurities. I had like every reason to not do this. Okay. I feel like, I didn't come from money. I didn't understand, that world. I didn't major in this. I kind of got a bleeding heart. So I want to help everybody all the time. And that often doesn't mix well in the business world when you just got this bleeding heart and want to just help everybody. I actually also almost lost my job twice at American Express because I just didn't make the numbers because all my clients were too poor. So I almost got fired twice.
So what helped you? What helped you with that? So if that was your hurdle, what helped you get over that hurdle?
I think faith, quite honestly.
Okay.
I believed I was called to this. And so I couldn't stop until, God said stop. And he wasn't saying stop. So you just keep fighting through it and just keep going. Until I felt like it was time to end, and it just wasn't time yet. So every time that I had one of those like hurdles or I was too intimidated, I think that's kind of where I drew all my strength from.
Oh, that's powerful. So when you feel like you're called for something, like you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you take every lump and you build on it, and so that's kind of where I think I got that kind of focus and determination from. If I didn't feel like I was called to it, I probably would have just quit.
Understood.
But I felt like a deep sense of calling.
Understood. So I know there's certain things that you can't talk about, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But the one thing I will ask you is this: what is the biggest misconception that people have in your experience as it pertains to having a financial plan or dealing with their money? What is the biggest misconception? Like something that you hear often from your clients?
That my job is really just to give them stocks to pick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I think I get a lot of that. Like, can you tell me what I'm supposed to buy? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of questions we got to answer before I can even get there. Before you can, especially this day and age when we got, apps that people could just get on their phone and just buy this and buy that. People think that that's what I'm going to do for them.
Okay.
And don't realize how much strategy is involved in investing. Like if you're going to do it right, you need to have some thought up front.
Yep.
Before you get into, just picking random stocks because you like them or you heard they were good. So I get that a lot where people just want me to be a stock picker and don't want to do the fundamental things that it takes to actually be a good investor.
Nice.
They want to skip steps all the time.
So what is the number one fundamental thing that you think, everybody should start with or think about, at least think about, like as they're getting started? What's something from a fundamental standpoint?
Fundamentals, I'm going to say start with consistent income.
Okay.
You have to find a way to make sure that your income is consistent, because otherwise you're going to tap into your investments too early.
Mm-hmm.
And that will also help you build just a cash reserve for emergencies, because you need your investments to be your investments. Yeah. They need to do what they're supposed to do. And if you are using them to live, you're never going to be able to build wealth effectively.
Oh, yes, there you go. That was listen, that right there was a gem, right? Because I remember in working in that space in the past, when I was licensed, no one wanted to hear that part.
No,
right? Because it was, they considered it boring, and no one wanted to hear it. But it was almost like building a house without a foundation, I guess.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I know exactly where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. Everybody wants the sexy part, but
yeah.
You gotta do all this other stuff first before you even get there. It takes time, it takes discipline, and focus, and nobody wants to put that part in.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this question. What is a book or a couple books or some of your favorite books? And they can be financial or non-financial that have helped you along your journey.
Help me along the journey. I was thinking about this question when you asked one of your other guests before. I have so many books that I read.
Give me a couple of them. What are some of your favorites?
I'll give you a few. One of the books that actually changed my perspective on wealth was The Millionaire Next Door. I actually found it an incredibly boring book, but from a perspective change, it helped.
Love that book.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't find it exciting, but I was like, wow, this I needed to see and hear from this author, because I think that fundamentally speaks to what you think about wealth, what's perceived out there as being wealthy, and then what truly is wealthy.
I put a lot of thought and probably way too much thought into that when reading the book, but then it dawned on me that from the time we're born, we're being marketed to. Right?
All the time.
From the day we're born, there's literal ads being made for kids, right? So we're being marketed to. There's another great book I read called Brand Wash, which talks about how brands, pretty much take control of us since we're kids. So we're taught wealth is one thing from the time we're born to the time we're adults. It is difficult to retrain your brain, because you think wealthy is, laying on yachts and having fast. Right. And you understand that the really wealthy don't even want you to know they have money.
Right, so exactly.
It's a whole different perspective. So that's a powerful book, though. So
yeah, definitely.
But that's why we're marketed to 24/7, 365. You can't even get on your phone. You can't even check your email without an ad. It's ads in your email.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they're stalking you to sell you stuff, and you really have to train. Actually, one of my other favorite books is the one I wrote, but I wrote about that in my book Money on Purpose. There's a whole section on just advertising, and how, as an advertising major, I was learning how to do that, learning how to capture people's attention. And today, with the algorithms that are out there, it's even worse. All social media is basically one big old slot machine to get you addicted and to keep staring and looking so that they can just get better and better demographic information to make more ads more effective. So that
Money on Purpose, where can the people go pick your book up at?
You can go to Amazon. You can grab it from Amazon. Money on Purpose is there. You can also go to my website, getinsightts.com.
And I'll put the link to that within the description, as well as the show notes for the people, so everybody can check it out. But that's good stuff right there. Any more books you want to bring up in terms of being your favorite?
Favorite books. The Bible is great for even finances. There's over 2,200 scriptures on money and work and possessions.
Yep.
I think Jesus talked more about that than he did about prayer. Literally, he did.
Listen, I'm with you, but let me ask you this question. How do folks feel when they hear you say that, right? Because some people may push back against that. Some folks out there may not like the fact that you say that.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it is what it is, right?
Okay.
That it's in there, and
yeah,
money is the thing that competes for our heart's attention all the time. So it's probably the biggest competitor against God. Is money and possessions and the perspective of power that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the greatest, I think, rivals, if there could be a rival, to God in terms of competing with our heart.
Yes.
So if you don't talk about money in the church, then you're missing a big portion of what people are forced to deal with every single day and the temptations that are out there. And if you teach people how to actually overcome that, how to deal with that, how to see it, how to see through it, and to get to the things that are truly valuable, then you have a much more powerful people, because everything else in this world is all geared towards the opposite. It's geared towards making you worship money, geared towards making you devote your life to it. It's essentially gearing you to worship it consistently. So you have to talk about that, in my opinion. And so I do. I mean, I'm an ordained minister, and if
I could tell, I'm ready to pass the plate right now. You going in like, I could tell. Sheesh,
that is something that I do. I don't shy away from talking about. I don't have a problem talking about it, and not in just the context of giving, which is typically how you, when you associate the church and money, that's all people think about is giving. But no, how do you spend it well? How do you save it well? How do you invest it well? All of this is wrapped up in our faith too. So, I don't have an issue with it, and I know other people might. But if you show me somebody's checkbook or their bank statement, I can show you their priorities.
All right, man. You got me excited over here. Now, let me ask you a question, though. Because that's a bar right there. If you show me someone's checkbook, all right, I got you. Now, the majoring, right? You were going into advertising and communications. How has that, if any, helped you with your business?
I think from a communication standpoint, I've always learned how people have to hear things, not just what I want to say. So when you're dealing with one-on-one with people, I have to listen very carefully to people, because when you're talking about money, it's very personal, and it's very sensitive, because a lot of people just don't want to share, because it's also a space of a lot of shame and insecurity, and you have to make people really comfortable with sharing that kind of stuff with you. So I think learning how to communicate and learning that communication is dominantly listening has been helpful. And knowing how to speak to a different audience. So if I have somebody who is the opposite of my personality, I need to be able to adjust.
Okay.
And make sure that I'm speaking to them in a way that they can hear it, not just saying what I want to say.
Okay.
But where I think I'm not great at is I don't advertise for myself well. I can advertise for other people fairly well, but I don't do that well for myself. So I would say I actually fall short on the advertising perspective there.
All right, there's two things from there. For one, the self-awareness is amazing, to say that you know exactly where you struggle at. But why do you think that is? Why do you think that you will be able to advertise for someone else, but you struggle with, putting your business or yourself out there? What do you think that is?
I think I'm just too emotionally connected.
Okay.
And so when you have to narrow things down and get like specific and use data and a lot more logistics to get to the right audience, to get the right message out there, I need somebody else to do that for me.
Okay.
Because this is my baby here. This is what I've built from the ground up. So there's a lot invested of me in it. So I'm always cautious with what I put out there or what I want to put out there. Like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to say, I don't know how to do
Understood.
that well. So I think that that's where that blind spot comes in. I think, that's the space where I need to rely on other people
Yeah.
uh, to do that.
Yeah. And that's key, right? Because I struggle with delegating, right?
Mm,
Um, but we just like hired a third person, and it has been amazing, right? Taking things off of your plate,
yeah,
right? So I think that as a business owner, you start to learn that, like, you have to be able to let people do some of the things you're not strong at,
right.
and
Right. And
you've
have to
already
be
started
honest
calling.
about where you're not strong. Like
Yep.
you're not, Superman or Superwoman.
Mm-hmm.
You're not expected to do everything well. I know the areas where I do things well, and I know the things that I can't yet afford to completely delegate.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to improve my skill
Mm-hmm.
to make it manageable and to get by. And I know the things that I can afford to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I grow, then that line item on my budget gets bigger. The
Yeah.
delegation line item. I'm like, all right, now you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this, and you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do this.
Oh man, you gave me so many gems today. So let me ask you this question: what is the future for you and your firm? What are some of the things that you're looking to do, or things that you're looking to accomplish or work on in the future?
Um, yeah, I think the future for me, my goal actually this year and next year is to hire more advisors.
Okay.
In the next 2 years, two, and then kind of manage it from there.
Okay.
I don't necessarily want to continue to grow just by me taking on more clients. This is part
Mm-hmm.
of this delegation. So I hired my first full-time employee last year. Um,
Congratulations. That's
yeah,
dope. That's dope.
thanks. And towards the fall, I'm targeting to hire the second. So as I get as I get bigger as a firm, I don't want it to just be me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to provide opportunity for other people to have a platform, to start this, because I don't think as a community we're gonna get ahead financially until we also have people that we can trust in the business
Mm-hmm.
who know and understand us. And so we need more financial advisors
Yes.
that look like us,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
that's going to change how many people engage it or even think it's possible to have one.
Yep.
I
Because
think we're only like 5% of the industry right now.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, about 15% of the population, only 5% of the industry. So that
And
so
CFPs, it's even less. It's less than 2% are actually CFPs.
wow, I didn't know that it was that crazy. I didn't know it was that,
Yeah.
wow. That's interesting, right? But you are right, because there's certain things from a cultural standpoint that you'll be able to relate to that someone else won't. When someone's, trying to get their plan together and they're telling you about things they're dealing with, right?
Right. And I'm like, yeah, my parents are doing the same thing. Or, I
Exactly,
remember seeing
exactly,
that when I was a kid. Like
exactly. So
that matters.
that's representation does matter. It absolutely does matter. So listen, Shayna, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for everything, because you got me over here excited right now, man. Like, I feel like I need to ask for the cash app. You was over here preaching, man. Like, I can add value to anybody. Like, I'm so I'm definitely inspired, and I just want to say thank you for your time, and also continue to grow, and I look forward to seeing all the success that you have in the future. I'm very proud of you, because like you said, you're doing amazing work, and you're helping other people feed their family, and that's revolutionary, if anything.
Yeah, that is definitely my goal. I never wanted to succeed alone. So if I can try to bring somebody else along, that's the goal.
Absolutely.
Don't do it
So
by yourself.
just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you. And for everybody watching this or listening to the audio, I will make sure to put all of her contact information within the show notes. If you're looking for someone to help you out, you'll be able to reach out to her. I'll put up social media links and all that. You heard what she said. She's not good at advertising herself, so I'm gonna do it for her. I want you.
Yeah,
I
I'm
want
not
you.
good.
I want you people to follow her and see what she's got going on. It's all positive. And she's out here helping the people. So Shayna, again, I just want to say thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. I've actually sent a couple of my clients to your to the courses.
Hey, appreciate that. Hey, that's a cosign right there. You guys hear that? That's from someone that knows their stuff. But thank you so much. And again, continued success and anything you need from us, we are here to support you in any way. To our audience out there, check everything that she has going on out there. And as we always say, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Game elevates. We'll see you guys on our next episode. Peace.
All right, thanks.